Okay, so in theory, this is live, and I am going to do another code review. So thank you for joining me. And there's not a lot of people here yet. So we're going to take it a little slow in the start. As you can maybe tell, I have had a very busy morning and not had a chance to finish my cup of coffee just yet. And I am also not yet wearing any makeup, so that's why I look like I have not slept. There's also the part where I have not slept. The glamorous life of being a developer advocate involves a lot of red-eye travel and sleeping in hotel beds, if you're lucky. But let's get back to happy code reviews. Today we are going to look at both the Apache Spark project and the SparkTestingBase project. So these are very different projects. They're both about open source big data projects. But SparkTestingBase is more or less myself and a few contributors, and Spark is a very well-organized project, lots of processes in place, and we actually really have an idea of what's going on. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. I'll be watching them on another device. But we're going to get started with SparkTestingBase because I've been meaning to make a release of it. And there's a pull request that would be really great to include in the release if I can. And okay, so there is add SparkToOne. That's interesting. There's also add size generator for RDD and dataset. Okay. And these are the two which we're going to look at today. So adding SparkToOne, yeah, okay, 212 is important. Looks like I just never bothered to do that. This is pretty much all that we need. We're gonna go ahead, approve. Thanks for adding this. Completely slipped my mind. Which is kind of not a good thing because I think I was responsible for the SparkToOne release. So I should have remembered to update it. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to hit squash and merge, and that is probably the fastest PR that I've had a chance to merge in a long time. So that's great. We're going to move on to a second pull request, which is adding size generators for RDD and dataset. So we can see here there's a little tab here that says first time contributor. That's really awesome. It's really exciting. So let's go down and say thanks for coming and thanks for joining the SparkTestingBase project, base project, and being okay. I'll review this right now. Sometimes if I can't get to reviewing something right away, but it is something that I care about, I try and leave a note that like, yeah, this looks really cool, and I want to come back to it later. Okay, so generate an RDD of the desired type with its size, accessible in the Lambda. Attempt to try a different number of partitions. To catch as many problems. Min partitions 1. Yeah. This looks great. Yeah, that's very true. Cool. So that's a thing. Although, wait, I don't see the size. I'm confused by the comment here. Let's... Okay, it's been a while since I looked at our RDD generator code, if I'm entirely honest. But this new gen-sized RDD is similar. Well, okay. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay. Oh, okay. This is going to take longer to review than I thought, but let's at least get something in here. So we can see in our old code, when we were generating RDD of a specific size, you know, just this, but this is, yeah. So, not, okay, yeah. Essentially, this calls arbitrary sized RDD with these parameters, but arbitrary RDD here doesn't have, calls arbitrary SC. Oh. That's maybe not going to work the way I would expect it to. But let's focus on this arbitrary sized RDD code path. So we have size, new rep size generator. Oh. Okay. I'm not. So the function names are a little bit confusing to me, which is not great, but it's also not the end of the world. Like we can change the function names. What I'm trying to figure out now is what the architecture of this is. So we can see that we fundamentally, we have this code's essentially been relocated down here. Yeah, and so that's going to go ahead, and these are, yeah, some different possible partition sizes, because we want to ensure that we have, you know, reasonable amounts of data in each partition. Yeah. I'm gonna actually go ahead and do something which I sometimes do when I'm confused, is I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into the tests, because sometimes the tests will just give me a better idea of how this is actually, you know, supposed to be used, and then I can come back and take another look at this. So test RDD size generator nodes. Okay. So we have a graph generator. It takes in a size. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So okay, that makes sense to some degree. So one of the things, though, is that we're not really actually checking that the size is what we're expecting here. Test custom size RDD generator. Okay, yeah, so this is a good example of why we would want this. And there we have some arbitrary breakdown of things. Oh, actually, and once again, I forgot to update. We are reviewing this one. Let's review info.txt. We'll see if that actually updates. Okay. That looks reasonable. Okay, so these tests are good. They're not great. I would want to see something which was actually testing that, we were getting the numbers that we expected for the size of the entire RDD, not just the ratios within each element, since this is a size generator. So that can go probably in a general comment, or actually could probably do it in one of the property notes. Yeah, RDD count. Yeah. Oh, actually, look at the size chosen and the size of the RDD. It's not a test I would expect a user to do, but a good test for the library itself. So we're going to go into start review mode, and I like this because often I'll leave comments that I realize later are not right, and then I'll come back to it and be like, ooh, yeah, okay, let's fix that. So one of the nice signs about this PR is that there's no test being removed, and we're not like changing any of the conditions of the existing tests. So that's a good sign. It makes me happier about where this is going. But let's go back in here. So I like these tests, but there is that comment about how we could improve them. I'm going to assume the dataset code is similar for now and just focus on the RDD code. So the wrap generator extends a wrap generator of type T. That probably makes sense. I don't know why I was extending random generator before. Wrapped gen of type T. Private. Oh, okay, we just... Actually, oh, this is... Yeah. Thanks for cleaning up the class and the classes a bit. So that's kind of nice. Because now if we... that's nice. We've got the wrap generator and the wrapped size generator. This looks fine. So essentially my main, like, really quick concern from just glancing at this is that maybe the size isn't working. Like, we might be generating the entire size on each partition now. Just a lot of the stuff with ScalaCheck is done in ways that have sort of a fuzzy memory of. So let's go back in here though. That looks fine. Yeah. Random RDD, random data. Actually, okay. Here's the thing. Our arbitrary sized RDD, which is supposed to return an arbitrary of RDD of type T, gen size arbitrary T, SC min partition size, wrap size generator of type T, SC generator. So let's go look at wrapped size generator of type T. Yeah. I'm not super convinced we're doing the sizes right. I mean, we could be. It's been a while since I looked at this code, and I would prefer to see that a little more clearly. Yeah, so arbitrary RDD, arbitrary of type T, wrap generator. Oh, interesting. This is maybe a strange function name, but that's okay. Yeah, this list of special partitions seems fine as well. Why are we filtering the number that are greater than MP, but we also have MP plus 1? That's I mean, this is old code, but I am... Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Man, this code, I think I wrote some of this initial code, and the initial code that I wrote is not very great. And so this is kind of rough to look at your own code a year later. It's been slightly rearranged and be like, oh wow, what was I doing? But that looks like an okay start for a review. Because really, I want to figure out what's going on with these sizes, and hopefully the author can help me out. Thanks for working on this. I'm a little uncertain about how we're handling the sizes now. Can you maybe add some comments to explain it and attest? And yeah, okay. So, I mean, we're not going to merge this one today. I don't think this is going to go into the release of SparkTestingBase. It's a great improvement. We can probably get it in for the next one. And since it's just myself who rules the releases, there's no real time constraints on that. So we can just be super flexible with that. There's a bunch of other things in here as well, which I'm not going to go look at. I'm going to go jump back in to Spark PRs, and we can go take a look at that. So this is the Spark review board again. As you can see, it's a little slow sometimes. Part of it is probably that I haven't signed in, so it's using just the public API keys. Go ahead and close this. Okay, so let's see. Okay, that looks 9 lines and 9 lines. That's great. Okay, so we have a few from Brian again this time that we can look at. It looks like probably in the interim someone moved the, merged the pull request that we had reviewed. Oh, here we go. No, this is our count vectorizer one. This is the one I wanted us to come back to because we looked at this yesterday. Not yesterday, last week. And this looks good. Yeah, okay. Let's go and switch into the code view so we can scroll through. I find it's a little easier to read it this way. There we go. Sorry, not JIRA, pull request. Okay, here we go. Right. So that was the part where this was fine, and this is the part where he was saying he was matching with Scala API. And my only thought is it's done this way to leave it up to the implementations if they allow the setting of the param. What do you think? And so that's the part which I was going to try and figure out. Is that actually the effect that we're getting? So we're going to go in through the Spark project. I'm going to go over find feature.py inside of the ML thing. And this is inside of the count vectorizer model. We're going to also go over into here, and we're going to go find the count vectorizer model. Count vectorizer.scala. Okay. So here we have the getters inside of main.df and max.df, and then the setters are inside. So I'm not super sure, but it does match the Scala model, which is a good point. And if someone hypothetically extended the count vectorizer from Scala, you know, it would be easier if the Python side more closely matched that. So that seems reasonable, I suppose. Yeah, okay. That sounds reasonable to me. Let's go find that comment in the pull request. Sorry for losing my place in that middle with having to reset a password. Sounds reasonable to me. Oh, right. I was going to update which pull request we're doing. Echo. Reviewing. Sounds reasonable to me. So that's good. Let's see if there were any other comments. Yep. Looks like this was this addressed? I actually don't see the empty. Empty array here. Oh, here we go. Test an empty vocabulary. That's what I was looking for. And test the default settings to can transform. Okay. Yep, that sounds great. I'll just ack it, sgtm. Okay. So everything looks great. Oh, wait, no, okay. Just to make sure I understand what's happening here, we are avoiding doing default param test on concrete classes. Yeah. Oh, it only checks the estimators. Oh, yeah. Sounds reasonable. Okay, well, that's great. I look forward to us automatically catching models. That's great. Okay, so from addressing my previous comments, we're all through, but nonetheless, before I merge this, I want to go back through and just make sure that everything looks okay, because it's possible that something else has changed, or that one of the lines which I commented on had changed, and then GitHub essentially showed my comment as resolved, even though it might not have actually been resolved the way I wanted it to. Yep, so the parameters, these all look fine. I'm just going to go back in and double check against the Scala parameters again. Yeah, main.tf. df. So yeah, df. Vocab size, binary. Wait, max df. Oh yeah, the max df thing was the thing that he mentioned, I think. Was that what he mentioned down here? Yeah, max df is new. Okay. Makes sense why it's not represented, so it's explicitly called out. Can be a follow-up. The types make sense. Float, float, int, boolean. The default values in the comments line up with the default values in set_default. Yeah. Okay, that looks pretty reasonable. Let's keep going. Oh, interesting choice with the underscore on the count vectorizer params. That makes sense. Yeah, we don't normally do that, but that's probably not a bad thing, because this class should actually, I mean, it's not private, but, you know, it's probably not a class we actually want the user to care about, and the convention in Python is to put an underscore there, so that's great. Vocab model. Yeah, once again, this has been improved. I like it. Yeah, the getters have been moved up into the general parameter. Count vectorizer model has inherit doc turned on. Yep. From vocabulary is new. Yeah, this this PR actually looks pretty reasonable. Let's go through the tests one more time. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're gonna go ahead and actually approve this PR. This looks good to me. LGTM is normally what people say. If this was a new contributor, I'd probably, you know, thank them a bit more for their contributions, but, I mean, Brian is not going anywhere, which is maybe not a great way to think of it, but more realistically, you know, Brian is a Spark committer, so we don't, you know, we have a more thorough working relationship. So we're going to go ahead and just grab the JIRA, make sure that the JIRA lines up, because sometimes people put the wrong JIRA number in. I've done that myself too. Looks like the Scala version. Yep, this looks good. It's required by Python parity issues for 2.0 QA. Okay, we're going to go ahead and assign this to Brian. Actually, we're not, because I just remembered that the script actually got better, and I want to see if the script works. Cool. Let's go and make this happen. So we have our PR number. Actually, let's check the description really quickly. Yep, the description looks good. It's the right format. Has the right tags in it. This says the components that it affects, Python and ML. And this is our pull request number. So we're going to go over here, and I'm going to go into repos Spark. Okay, looks like I'm on the master branch. I don't have a lot of branches in this checkout because I recently destroyed this laptop, which is also why I had my bash RC open with that password in it that I needed to change. Hopefully I can edit that out, but regardless, that password isn't good anymore. And we have this merge Spark PR script. And this is the pull request that I want to merge. Yeah, looks like the right one. Proceed with merging. Yep, that's Brian Cutler's the primary author of this. The convention is, you know, if it's two roughly equivalent authors, you normally choose the person who's newer on the project. But I mean, it's just Brian's work, so, yeah, it's Brian. And, yep, go ahead and push this to the Apache project. Okay, now, I don't save my Apache credentials, just because I don't know. Oh, it did not like my credentials. I'm going to go ahead and pause this and double check that I didn't screw up my credentials. I will be right Okay, awesome. Now we're back in live. As you can see, the issue was I forgot that my Apache username doesn't have a K at the end of it. And so that's great. I clearly need more coffee and a piece of toast after this is finished. But yeah, so logged in and it's now pushed. We're not going to cherry pick this. It really doesn't belong in a backport, so we're going to say nope. And it looks like, because I have a new machine, I haven't actually installed the JIRA Python library. So let's go ahead and sudo pip install -r. There's actually a requirements.txt file here that I wrote so that when I screwed up my machines like this, I wouldn't have to remember all of the individual libraries. It's okay though, it's merged anyways, but we do have to go and manually update the JIRA now. And so that's going to be this one here. We are going to go in, we're going to assign it to Brian. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this resolve issue. And it's fixed. The fixed version is 240. Target version can be 240 as well. Thanks for fixing this, Brian. Cool. Resolve. That is great. Now, another sort of convention thing which I left out of the last live stream is, looks good to me, merged to master. Thanks. Leaving a note where you've merged it. I don't actually know how important this is, but I got told to leave these comments once upon a time when I was a new committer, and I forgot to. So I'm actually going to jump back and message Cody and remind him to do this, because it's one of those just social conventions that we haven't bothered to write down. I don't know if everyone follows, but there are at least some people who appreciate it. And so with that note, we've got like 15 minutes left, so I could jump back into SparkTestingBase. But honestly, I think I'm going to wrap up early, and I'm going to spend those 15 minutes editing out the part where I showed everyone my password. So thanks for joining me this morning. I hope to see you around. Oh, also, make another pot of coffee.